station!
It's a gunship.
The orbital friendship cannon sounds great.
Yeah.
Whenever possible, we like to foreshadow impending boss battles by introducing the enemy before the actual fight. In this case, you know you're going to be seeing that gunship again pretty soon. Instead of letting the gunship AI have its own way here, we forced the ship to crash right into it. It's a dramatic payoff for winning the battle, and it gives players an opportunity to examine a gunship up close at their leisure.
We designed this gunship battle to create a dynamic, evolving experience.
while still keeping the player within a constrained area. Initially, the space appears straightforward and provides plenty of cover. As the environment gets progressively more damaged, combat becomes more challenging. Players are increasingly open to enemy fire, and the path to the rocket crate becomes more difficult to navigate. As the roof breaks apart, however, the gunship also becomes more visible, and therefore easier to hit, keeping things relatively in balance. The lighting in this area was tuned to play off of the HDR tone mapping effects between the dark inner spaces and the progressively open, bright sky above.
Yeah, Death Stranding update looks alright. Could have been better.
Wow, I mean, holy, that was... Jesus, Gordon, you're a real terror. Think it's dead? Maybe you should whack it with a crowbar just in case.
Weird.
Oh, God, not again.
What the hell was that? Oh, it was a little jumpy bomb.
So much for medical supplies. I found a shotgun.
Yeah, the commentary's cool.
The hospital was a completely new interior space that we had to design pretty much from scratch. Like most of City 17's visuals, it was inspired by Eastern European architecture. The surgery lamps and the overall white and yellow color scheme were drawn from photos of a hospital in Chernobyl. The tilework and the high archways were chosen to give the area the institutional feel of an old European hospital, and the beds were based on some World War II images. In fact, we avoided modern-looking fixtures and furniture altogether in order to differentiate the place from a contemporary hospital.
We designed this area to be an entertaining showcase for NPC combat. Because of our dynamic AI, these kinds of battles never really play out the same way twice. Players often like to sit back, watch the show, and then dive into the fray at their own discretion. We also felt it was time to introduce a new combat ability for Alex, so we gave her a shotgun here. Not only are shotguns terrific for zombie hunting, their size and ponderous handling characteristics make for some great combat animations.
Oh shit. What was that?
The door-banging zombies were supposed to give players a safe glimpse of the threat they'd have to face later in the level. In the original design, players couldn't open the door. The zombies would burst through on their own after the player had done a little exploring. We abandoned that plan when many playtesters exhibited a pretty much single-minded fascination with opening the door as soon as they saw it. We made the door openable, though if players ignore it, the zombies will eventually break it down themselves.
To make the set of empty corridors look like a hospital, we chose some iconic hospital props that could be used multiple times throughout the level. Then we built the models with details, multiple skins, and vertical and horizontal elements that would be visually interesting in the space.
Too much of the same type of uninterrupted gameplay causes fatigue. Through repeated playtests, we learned that by the time players reached this part of the hospital, they were ready for a break from the intense combat. In response to that feedback, we inserted this relatively calm exploration puzzle as a change of pace. It gives players a respite from combat while still presenting them with an interesting challenge.
I see you did all right without me.
Toxin levels detected. Minor lacerations detected.
Here they come. Get through the door.
Ammunition depleted.
This turret scenario was designed to showcase Alex's ability to provide cover for players in combat. She always hangs back a little, blasting anything that moves. In the original version, players could knock over lightly protected turrets with a single rocket, fired from the safe end of the corridor. We thought it'd be a nice way for players to feel like they'd pulled one over on the Combine. Unfortunately, playtesters routinely thought that they'd discovered a bug, or, at best, an exploit that had arisen from sloppy design. So in this case, a situation we deliberately created to make the players feel clever actually caused them to think we weren't doing our job very well. As a result of this feedback, we added a force field and additional grating to better protect the turrets.
Whoops.
At any rate,
It's the train station.
first, as a matter of great urgency,
We wanted players to realize that
They're
they've been
onto us.
spotted and the Combine are
find
now
Barney
aware
and
of
get
their
moving.
arrival at the train station. It sounds like a simple task, but it actually took a lot of thought to draw the players' attention to the various events that communicate this message. First, a train horn sounds, which gives Alex an opportunity to mention that the station is in sight. Next, the lights go off to grab the players' attention and to make the monitors stand out in the dark. At this point, the player should be looking at one of the monitors, so finally, the Kleiner transmission is interrupted briefly by a Combine advisor. Originally, the advisor appeared on the Jumbotron outside, but we were never able to reliably make playtesters look at
Sorry
it.
to keep you waiting.
The flashing Combine
Combine's on our
camera
tail.
should also provide
What's the
some
plan?
indication that trouble is
sending
brewing.
folks out in groups.
Though it's
Like
not
I
a
said
proper
before,
gate, the
if
zombie
you can
draped
keep
over
them
the
safe
exit
and
is
provide
designed to
cover,
slow the
we
player
might
down
actually
just
stand a
long enough
chance
for
of
Alex to
reaching the
finish the
escape
lines.
Sounds good.
Originally,
Send out the first group.
Barney started off in this map in the
Here we
doorway
go.
down by the citizens, but playtesters tended to wander around for a while before stumbling across him. We moved him up here to guarantee that his scene with Alex would unfold before players began any exploration. He's standing over a dead Metro cop because it's a plausible-looking long-term activity, in case players don't move directly down to him. Nearby reward items also tend to draw players toward him.
It's Gordon Freeman, and about time too.
Here, have a med kit.
Here, ammo!
We wrestled with the problem of plausibly repopulating this area with soldiers between each trip. After several iterations, we decided to have the soldiers jump in through some high windows. This solution has several advantages beyond maintaining incredible fiction. It makes the incoming enemies more immediately visible, and, since the windows are unreachable from the ground, players aren't able to exit through them. Plus, leaping soldiers turn into tumbling ragdolls when shot, which is always entertaining.
Go back and get another group.
Yeah,
I'll stay
yeah,
here and
yeah,
guard
yeah.
the gate.
Take care of the citizens, Gordon. They're counting on you.
I'm gonna get that one, but then there's more dangerous stuff. Oh, fuck. I say
We
that.
wrestled with the problem of plausibly repopulating this area with soldiers between each trip. After several iterations, we decided to have the soldiers jump in through some high windows.
This solution has several advantages beyond maintaining incredible.
Go back and get another group. I'll stay here and guard the gate.
Take these folks to the train. Keep them safe.
Hey, Freeman, get back out there and help. That was a close one.
Oh.
Go get more citizens.
Here we wanted to include something a little
can't get
different,
through here
an
until
escort
that soldier's
mission.
out of the way.
Most of our gameplay involves constant forward motion, so we wanted to design a situation where players would fight through the same basic area multiple times. This temporary backtracking would create a series of encounters where players had a full tactical awareness of their surroundings. Once again, all of this turned out to be more easily said than done, and this sequence went through a lot of iterations. Originally, the train yard was one big space. This approach had a couple of problems. Since players had a constant unbroken view of the entire area, it was virtually impossible to maneuver enemies into position for stage combat events, and because they could always see the goal, players didn't get much of a sense that they were leading citizens somewhere the citizens couldn't get to on their own. Ultimately, we broke the environment into two different spaces, a parking lot and a maintenance building. Because neither area can be seen from the other, we're able to repopulate the spaces with new, more deadly combinations of enemies while the player isn't looking. It also makes the journey feel lengthier and more
We
significant.
can't get through here till that soldier's out of the way. Here till that soldier's out of the way. Fantastic ass kicking, Doc.
Here, patch yourself up.
Combine!
Hurry up, people. Keep your heads down.
We made it!
never make it. Thanks, Freeman. Thanks, Freeman.
I think this is the end, honestly, so makes sense. Oh my god.
It was touch and go.
Blood loss detected.
I thought we'd never make it.
Now that's the Gordon Freeman I know.
Take this med kit.
me.
Okay, they're safe. Go for another group.
Yep.
Citizens, Gordon. We're ready for another group of citizens.
Oh my god.
Blood loss detected. Warning. Vital signs critical.
I think we heard all the commentaries. Or maybe not. I guess there's another chapter after this.
Another group of citizens, Gordon. We're ready for another group of citizens. Go back to Barney and get another group.
Blood loss detected. Warning. Vital signs critical.
another group.
I'll stay here and guard the gate.
Go back and get another group.
Shut up,
Stay here
Alex.
and guard the gate. Go get more citizens, Gordon.
Oh my god. Fuck off. Fucking go now? Jeez.
To the trains, people!
To the trains!
They're safe and sound.
I think this section of the game has one too many trips. I would even say two too many trips. Like, as soon as the missile launcher is there... As soon as the missile launcher is there on your return trip, that should be the last trip. It's not really necessary to have all this happening. Anyway, I think this is the end now.
That should keep them off our backs for a while.
You guys coming?
Go on, Barney. They're not after you. Gordon and I will draw their attention while you get the others away from here. We can grab another train once you're clear.
Okay then. Don't take too long about it, yeah?
Here, let's open up this next track. Here, patch yourself up.
It's 69.
We needed a train station, but we didn't want something that was too similar to the one in Half-Life 2. We decided to give this station a more industrial look, to make it a place where trains were repaired and freight was offloaded. We included some Combine elements to help explain why the Strider can't fire through the various strategic barricades required by the game design.
I'll get a head start on the
We
next
separate
train.
Alex from the
No
player
time
here
to
to make the
lose.
Strider battle a more intimate combat experience. While we generally want Alex to be useful to the player, bosses tend to require a specific combat style to beat, and we found that it usually doesn't make gameplay sense to keep her around. Plus, boss battles are the player's big hero moments, and having too much help dilutes a sense of individual accomplishment. Alex more or less sits out all of our bosses.
For this climactic battle, we created a new AI that makes the Strider a more interesting opponent. It has a snappier cannon attack, can better track the player's movements, and it now has the ability to target the environment in dangerous ways. For instance, its cannon fire can shove heavy shipping containers straight into the player.
This shipping container used to be accessible only after the player destroyed a padlock. Given the amount of stress during this part of the game, even a simple puzzle, in this case, destroying a lock, would be completely missed by the player. In the end, we felt like the arena we had built for the player to fight the Strider was fun enough without this added element, so we removed it.
Please, please, please.
We often use goodies, such as this crate and the scanner battery around the corner, to guide players along a preset route. We want players to hit their marks during the battle without drawing attention to the fact that they're being subtly manipulated down a particular path. We often use goodies, such as this crate and the scanner battery around the corner, to guide players along a preset route.
High in this fight, we also realized the players would need some cover. The destructible panels satisfy both those design goals. Effectively, they're kind of shelters. Players can hide behind the panels, but the Strider will target them until they're destroyed. This gives the players brief periods of safety, during which they can plan their next move.
We noticed during playtesting that players were often too afraid of the Strider's weapons to stand in front of it and fire rockets. This was kind of a problem because rockets are virtually the only way to kill a Strider. To help players, we modified the Strider's AI so that a player-launched rocket will significantly delay the Strider's attack. This battle of reflexes lets players guide their missiles in safety, as long as they get their shot off before the Strider does.
Fantastic job, Gordy. You're my new hero. Oh, can you believe it? I think we're actually gonna make it out of here. Quick now, let's get the train moving.
Along with Vistas, positive feedback from Alex is one of our primary means of rewarding players. In this case, Alex's excitement over the Strider's destruction adds a sense of closure to the battle, and gives players the satisfaction that someone witnessed and appreciated their heroics.
The train the player rides out of City 17 had two major design goals. It had to visually connect the end of Episode 1 to the beginning of Episode 2, and it also needed to address the functional gameplay requirements of the second episode. Using reference material we collected on European train cars from the 1980s, we built a basic version of the train that level designers could test. Once we got the thumbs up from them, we added textures and lots of little details. The result is basically a caboose, combined with rounder, more streamlined elements from a passenger car.
What's the point of this room? I never understood what the point of that room was, because you don't get in there.
Apart from being a big visual payoff to the episode, there were several story requirements that this ending sequence needed to convey. It had to make it very clear that the Citadel was destroyed, that the Citadel pods had escaped, and it needed to imply that the data transmission beam was streaming out of the ruins. We discovered that Alex had to be mostly silent during the scene, or else players tended to look at her instead of all the chaos around them.
And that's it. That's all that developer commentaries.
Oh my god, the transmission's going out.
Alright, GG. Yeah, I'll come back online later tonight and we'll start, episode 2. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. We'll start episode 2 tomorrow. Not tomorrow, tonight. We'll start it in, like, I don't know, 4 hours or something.